Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an Ektar solo Heroes of the Stormcast. First off, thank you so much, my Jewish cat, for the 57 viewer host. We are just about to get into Bronze6 versus Feigned Competence, a Division B East matchup here. Sorry, B West matchup in the Nexus Gaming series. Thank you again for the host, my Jewish cat. We have the ready from both teams verifying that they have the region set to Central, and we should be getting right on into it. If you like the production value, that is the 7th Ace casting tool. He makes it very easy for casting Heroes of the Storm matches. But here we are getting into map number 1, Battlefield of Eternity. We didn't have the between game screen on for very long, so if you happen to miss it, I'll tell you how we got to Battlefield of Eternity. We had the coin toss won by Feigned Competence. They opted for first pick. Bronze6 banned out Cursed Hollow and Sky Temple. Feigned Competence banned out Volskaya Foundry and Towers of Doom. And Bronze6 took us to Battlefield of Eternity for their first map, which they haven't actually had map pick very often in this series. They've played, I think it was 12 or 14 series, and they've had first pick for all but 2 of those, so they have not actually had a lot of maps that they've shown that they like to play, because they've only gotten to pick twice, and neither of those times is on Battlefield of Eternity, so bit of an interesting pick by them. Let's see if they have anything to bring to the table that is a little different than what they normally like to run. Well, we got a Mephisto getting banned out, and I actually rather like that, just because Mephisto has been so good recently. Like, I don't know exactly what happened. He just started getting picked and winning games a lot. So seeing him getting banned out is a nice little surprise coming in here. The ETC is not a surprise at all. ETC is one of the most popular heroes in the game, and he's very effective. Definitely one of those S-tier tanks, and you love to see him getting banned out. I actually love to see both ETC and Johanna getting banned out first round, because it means that we get to see a little bit more of an interesting tank shakeup than normal. Let's see if the teams are going to give that to me this time. We have a Tracer getting banned out. That's, you know, she did just get nerfed a teeny little bit, but not really. So seeing her go is not a huge surprise. Either Bronze6 have run Tracer, I believe, so getting her out of here is really smart for Feigned Competence. Plug me, daddy. FPS Nate plays FPS games occasionally on FPS Nate 128 at twitch.tv. He does also play Heroes of the Storm, but I don't think he actually streams that very often, so go watch FPS Nate if you like FPS games being played by a guy named FPS. And the Zool getting banned, I think, is a bit of a surprise ban, just because it's a big map. And yeah, he can win in the soul lane, but it's not so oppressive like it is on some other maps. But I guess they just really don't want to lose in the soul lane, so it's fine ban coming out from them. Jim Raynor is not a surprise. He's been extremely popular on this map, really ever since his rework, I think it was last year. Executioner, I believe, got buffed when his other level 1s got buffed, but then it got reverted back to its original 50% value, but 50% on the Immortal is still a ton of extra DPS. And we've got Johanna, which is the other of the 2 S-tier tanks, so really good pickup from Bronze6. And Artanis getting picked on the map that Artanis gets picked on is not a surprise at all. The only thing that would be a surprise with the Artanis is if we didn't see Amateur Opponent at level 1, but that seems extremely unlikely unless they're really confident at being able to wail away against Leoric in the top lane. And Orphan. I like Orphan these days. She got a little bit of a numbers tweak during one of the last patches, so seeing Orphea get a little bit of a rise in popularity is kind of nice, because I think she's a lot more interesting to watch than some of the other mages where it's just like throw up big chunky ability, deal lots of damage, and walk away. Orphea has to commit a little more and is a little more interesting to watch in her movement. So I don't know too much about these teams on a personal level. I don't think I've ever played against either of them. And I did do some research going into it a little bit, but I don't think Orphea was too high on either of the team's playlists, so I like to see that getting picked up here. Stukov getting banned out. Stukov is one of the most played heroes for the side of Feigned Competence, so a little bit of a target ban, plus Stukov is just genuinely a pretty good hero. So I like that ban coming out from them a lot. For Feigned Competence, let's see, I think it's actually Whitemane is the most played healer for Bronze6. Let's see if they've recognized that and they're going to choose to ban it out. They choose to ban out the Ariel instead, who they have played, but a lot fewer times than that. It's actually Whitemane and Stukov, most played by Bronze6. So they're going to have to go into someone they're maybe a little bit less comfortable in compared to some of their other matches. They've also run a couple of the hyper carry style heroes in the Genji and the Medivh. I don't think they're going to look to play for that in this particular match, but it is something that they could bust out maybe in Game 2 or a possible Game 3.
Let the Inquisition commence.
Going into the Whitemane, so that is kind of the hero that Elune is known for. Missed opportunity for not playing Tyrande, but that's just me. And My Jewish Cat, thank you for the host and the game as well, also has played a fair amount of Tassadar, and I just love Tassadar. He's one of my favorite heroes in the game. Do I think we'll see a KTZ? Probably not in this game, but in the series I think that there's a decent chance at it. I know at least Bronze6 have run KTZ. I don't recall if Feigned Competence had it as well. And I actually rather like Mal'Ganis. He's a nice A-tier tank. He's not a Johanna, he's not an ETC, but part of the reason that Johanna is so good is because of the wave clear, and on BoE you don't need that as much. So I think Mal'Ganis is a really nice pickup, and I always love Sleep Into Sleep with Mal'Ganis and Ana. And Lunara pickup. I love Lunara. She's one of my favorite damage dealers, and this is one of her better maps just because you can pick up Culling. And Nature's Culling just turns her into an actually really solid race machine. So both teams have pretty good race potential. I think it goes slightly in favor of Bronze6 because of the Artanis compared to the Leo. Yeah, Artanis and Lunara can race harder than Jimmy, I believe. So I think it will be on Feigned Competence going forward to try and make the defenses happen and the engages work. And I think that probably Bronze6 are going to want to disengage and try to poke down and race that way. Gilgamesh. Is that some kind of play on Gilgamesh? I wonder. Unfortunately, neither of our teams, as you can see, have any significant amount of portrait synergy going on. Yeah, really nothing that I can identify portrait synergy-wise in this series, so I always like to see a little bit of synergy, even if it's not all the same portrait. If you can get all the same style or all the same theme, that's pretty cool too, but you know, there's a lot of teams of just individuals, and that's absolutely okay. But we have now, for game number 1, spawning on the left-hand side in the blue trunks, they are Bronze6 with Danny playing the Johanna, CRT playing on the Lunara, Elune playing Whitemane, My Jewish Cat is the Tassadar, and Kira is playing the Artanis. And on the right side in the red trunks, we have Feigned Competence with Johanna Fencer playing the Orphan, Captain Squidly playing Ana, Flow Motion playing Jim Raynor with the Pleb Horse, Hyperbole is playing Mal'Ganis, and in the top lane we have Beaver Hunter playing the Leoric. As we are wont to do, we're going to go ahead and check out the level 1s. We do have Tassadar going into Q-Quest. I think that this is one of the maps where Q-Quest is the most viable, because you don't have to worry about spending your abilities for as much wave clear and running out of mana. We have Pity the Frail, which I believe is the standard talent, but I could easily be wrong. And checking out the trends, of course, it is in fact Amateur Opponent. On the other side, we have Time to Feed, which I believe is the normal Mal'Ganis talent. Ossian Renewal I don't see terribly often. Ace in the Hole, so not going into the Exterminator, which I think means that the race definitely now favors Bronze6 going into the later parts of this game. Hyperbole actually already taking quite a bit of damage. Gets a little bit of crowd control on there. He's actually very low, though. Jonah Fencer is pretty low as well. Ooh, Hyperbole, bit of a rough spot. Might be able to get out, but gets very low, and is the first casualty in this game. Very quick first blood going over in favor of Bronze6. And with that first kill, they are going to rotate out and take onto the bottom camp. This is not the Empowered Wisp, so they're only going to get this little vision radius that you can kind of see right here. But with that kill, that's more than enough for them to actually just take this bottom camp without really any fear of being engaged upon. Checking the top lane for just a sec. Both of the top laners have reasonable wave clear, and they shouldn't be able to do a whole heck of a lot to each other. We have Mal'Ganis back now, but with the power of the wave clear on the side of Bronze 6, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Feigned Competence to step up and get the XP and to especially start putting damage into this camp. Lunara doesn't have quite the same auto attack range as Jimmy, but she has the advantage she can just put one on and walk away, and it does a little bit more with that poison than Jimmy can kind of do. So this Cosner camp is going to start putting some okay damage into this front wall. You have Hyperbole going in for an engagement on that Tassadar. It gives a little bit of damage in. My Jewish Cat actually getting down kind of low. Orphea putting in quite a bit of damage, and my Jewish Cat might be the second casualty in this game, just barely not. Someone dropping the spray, indicating that they were able to get out alive. Already at 40 stacks, which is 8 hits coming out from Tassadar. Really well done by them. You want to get those hits not only for the increased damage, but it also gives you 33% of your auto attack charge, which means your auto attacks get stacked up faster. You get that increased cooldown, or not increased damage, increased cooldown reduction if you end up going in for that on 7, and not going into the plasma shield on 4, so you don't need to necessarily get it up for self-sustain, but the mana is still very important. Both camps getting picked up at about the 20 and 18 second mark, so going to be crashing into the lanes a little bit before the objective is spawning, so look to see the teams try to chunk those down a little bit. Flow Motion is stepping up to do just that. In the top lane we have Artanis doing the very same thing. And we have the objective spawning just about now, where we can see that Bronze 6 are already here in position trying to get this race on. CRT did go into the Nature's Culling, so extra 125% poison damage going in favor of them. And you can see that the race is going in their favor pretty heavily, both because they got on early, and just because with the Ace in the Hole rather, and not the Exterminator, Jimmy doesn't have phenomenal race, and that is halftime going very easily in favor of Bronze 6. Beaver Hunter taking quite a bit of damage is going to be topped off pretty easily by Ana. And we have the objective spawning in the race positions, which is definitely going to favor Bronze 6, and they're going to take the first objective. Hyperbole trying to step in and do a little bit of an interruption, getting some decent interrupts. Gets a nice little sleep and a stun, but is going to have to get out of there. Ooh, the swap coming into Hyperbole, and that is very likely going to be a kill going over in favor of Bronze 6. Really well done by Kura, getting a very long-range swap, and even staying on Captain Squidly. Looks like Ana might be the next to fall here. That is definitely going to be Ana falling. Lyric is going to be able to make his way to the top lane. We have the members actually going towards the bottom lane, so deciding to split with the objective, let it push in the top lane while they push in the bottom lane. And I think this is becoming a little bit more popular with the strength of the towers for defense. Trying to split the opponents and make them try to defend on multiple fronts could actually be more effective than trying to push with the objective. Danny is currently taking tower shots. He's already got down to that minus 20 armor, but it does drop off. They're going to push in and definitely get the well. With the rest of the team rotating down, I don't know it's likely they're going to be able to get the fort here. Danny's actually pretty low, so they're going to get pushed off. We've got the electric fence trying to keep Hyperbole out. Used all of his crowd control abilities already, so now you just have to kind of walk away. Beaver Hunter taking a fair bit of damage and is going to fall as well, and that is a 4-0 so far in this game, going in favor of Bronze 6. We have Jim Raynor rotating down now. They're trying to get the lanes in a more normal arrangement, trying to get Leo on the top lane. Artanis already in the top lane as well. CRT is starting on this camp. They did go into the Splintered Spear on 7, so they can actually take these camp reasonably effectively all by themselves. Hyperbole coming in for a bit of a flank engage is going to hit a sleep onto 4 members, but the follow-up damage just kind of wasn't in position to do it. Jonah Fencer wasn't in position with the Dread or any of the Qs, which I actually can't remember what it's called right now. It is Shadow Waltz. Thank you very much, talents. Checking out the talents, we do have E on 7, which I think is the most often standard at this point. Hyperbole taking quite a bit of damage. Might be able to walk away if Ana can get a couple heals. Not quite. 5-0 in favor of Bronze 6. My Jewish Cat is a little bit low on mana, so look to see them hitting the auto attack so they can get the their trait stacked up. It does give them increased mana regen when it's fully stacked. There's not a good indicator for that when they don't have the level 4 talent that gives them the shield, so it's hard to see if it's actually full charge. It has been, but just by virtue of how long they've been auto attacking, but you can't actually see it. My Jewish Cat is going to back from mana going into this objective phase. Looks like Bronze 6 are not going to continue pushing in along the bottom lane, and they just want to get the early race positions on this objective, which is really smart for them. because it's in defensive positions. They want to get out of defensive positions so they can take a nice, easy offense during into the second half of this objective. Hyperbole stepping up to make the defense happen. Kira in a bit of a rough spot. The Chomp comes out dealing some pretty good damage. It's still about a third of a level before the level 10's coming in, so this is a good time to fight for Feigned Competence. Kira getting a bit of a weird swap as they were root at the time is going to just bring Mal'Ganis towards them. Kira is very low, below 300 hit points, but not going to be able to get brought down. And we've got the level 10s coming in just a moment for the side of Bronze6. And there it is. We do have them backing off so that they can tap up, regain mana, and also take this camp. Looking at it, we have Scarlet Aegis not going into the Divine Reckoning. We've got the Leaping Strikes, Suppression Pulse. Black Hole is a really interesting pickup that I don't see taken very often. And we have the Blessed Shield, the very common standard ult coming out from Johanna. We've actually only got about a half a level until Feigned Competence get their level 10s as well. And that's what I think they're going to be looking to see to really try to come back in this game, because they get some big, impactful ultimates, in particular the Entomb and whatever Orphea decides to pair with it. Hyperbole stepping up. They're trying to get the Divine Shield ripped off onto the Johanna, who does get crowd controlled. She gets woken up, but is still rather low. Has to drop the D-Shield as a disengage. Flow Motion starting to put some really good damage in. The Black Hole is popped and is going to secure the kill out until Leoric. Flow Motion gets stunned by the Immortal and is going to be the next to fall here. Jonah Fencer, Shadow Ults got interrupted on the dash portion, so they're going to get taken down as well. That is 9 total kills going over in favor for Bronze6. Still 0 kills for Feigned Competence. And that is going to be an almost full shield objective going over in their favor at this point. It will be going into the top lane, so that's where we see them already starting to make a defensive position here. This camp is started by Beaver Hunter, which means that the members of Bronze6 can see that it's happening here. The Suppression Pulse to check to see how much is remaining on that, and that is unfortunately for them going to be a camp given over to their opponents as the objective is spawning. So that will, I believe, be pushing in the bottom lane as the objective is pushing in the top lane. Ooh, no, actually both going into the top lane. That is much worse for the side of Feigned Competence. But they do have the level 10s now. They're giving up this fort, and they're going to try and make a defense at the keep wall. We do have the Eternal Feast to pair with the Entomb, so potentially a lot of damage coming out on that combo that they have. Otherwise, relatively standard ults being picked up on the side of Feigned Competence. A lot of damage coming out from that Tassadar. We've got the Nano Boost getting popped onto Orphea, but wasn't able to pair with the combos, so maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity. We've got the Blessed Shield coming out, hitting onto the tanks and also Flow Motion. The Eternal Feast getting dropped almost as they kind of disengaged. The Entomb came out, only hitting the Immortal. But that is the damage from Tassadar coming out, getting Orphea and Jimmy pretty low, but they both have the taps available. We got the Suppression Pulse getting dropped so they can secure the top keep. We do have Hyperbole in the backline, does pop the Carrion Swarm to get themselves nice and top back up. They still don't have any ultimates available, still have the Leaping Strike available for Lunara to get themselves out of dodge, and that is going to be the keep going over in favor of Bronze6. Going in for the engage on the Beaver Hunter, gets them pretty low, but will get saved by the power of Ana. The objective is on core, but it is only going to get about 15-20% before it gets taken out there. Actually, a really successful push coming out from Bronze6, as they're going to rotate into the bottom lane very quickly. They're going to get the XP in this bot lane and probably start this camp as well. It looks like Whitemane and Tassadar are going to full back, so they won't be able to take both of the camps. Actually, might not be able to take either, because the members of Feigned Competence have already gotten down into the bot lane. If they identify that CRT is on this camp, they could crash in onto it and make a nice little team fight here with the numbers advantage, but not quite in time to do so. CRT taking the camp very quickly. At the moment, there's not a whole lot for Bronze6 to try and do, other than try to force a team fight. They're up level 13 right now, but there's not a lot on the map for them to take. They're already taking this camp in the top lane, and with the lanes pushed out as far as they are, they'd have to go really far into enemy territory to try and make a team fight happen. They are looking to make a team fight happen, but the Tassadar is going to miss on the force wall, allowing Flow Motion and Jonah Fencer to get on out of there. A little bit of beast up action coming out from a Loon there. Hoping that doesn't come back to bite them later. Checking out their level 13, because I don't see an Orphea or a Whitemane very often, is the Subjugation. We've got the Blessed Shield engage coming out, hitting onto Hyperbole. They don't yet have the Carrion Swarm to get on out of there. We had the Entomb get popped, but the follow-on damage just missed by a little bit. Beaver Hunter pretty low. I believe they used the Wraith Form to get in there. to make that engagement happen, so they didn't have it as a disengage. Carrier Storm comes out, a lot of damage going to My Jewish Cat, actually. Orphea isn't quite in range to get the damage out, misses out onto the Q, isn't able to follow up on the damage that their tanks have done. But in their Beaver Hunter and Hyperbole are really deep in the enemy backline, but CRT is actually pretty deep in their opponent's backline, gets the kill out onto Jim, he gets the kill out onto Leoric next. Hyperbole is very deep into enemy territory, trying to find something. They're trying to make a team fight happen, but they're down 13 talents. They do get 13s now, but they had to trade over an Ana kill for it, and likely a Melganis kill as well. Orphea going to be the only one to survive this team fight. As the objective is now coming up, they're going to send a Loon back, but with only Orphan and Leoric alive, that is no one that can really make a defense here. It's spawned in defensive positions, which means that Bronze6 are going to be able to get this into halftime and take another relatively advantageous team fight. They're going to pick up level 16. Their opponents are just picking up their 13s now. So I don't know what they're going to be able to do about this. But we're getting to the point in the game where you have to ask yourselves, as Feigned Competence, is this the bad fight that we take? They're down 3 whole levels and a talent tier. Is this the point in the game where they say, you know what? We're not going to find a better team fight than down 13 to 16. Is this where we have to make our stand? And they've decided that no, they don't want to fight over the objective for it. They're going to make the defense on their bot keep. They're going to take the Bruiser camp and allow top lane to push out. And hopefully they'll be able to take a good team fight on the defense. We do have Hyperbole popping the Carrion Swarm as a form of engagement. They had already used the E to try and get in there. We got the swap coming in from Martanis, followed with the Black Hole doing a ton of damage out onto Hyperbole. They're going to go down from the Leaping Strike. We have the Entomb goes out. John Fencer not in a position to drop the follow-on damage. The Nano Boost comes out a little bit after Orphea had already used all of their abilities. Captain Squidly is going to get caught by another great swap from Kira. And I don't know if they're going to be able to make this defense. If they survive here, they've got a camp pushing in the top lane, so maybe they get the top fort for a little bit of evened out map pressure, but it's going to be a really tough defense for the members of Feigned Competence here. The objective still has half shields and all health coming in. Kira looking for a swap from a bush, almost hits out onto Flow Motion. They had just, I think, happened to step back just to try and get a little bit of a safer position, and that did save them, but oh, for how long that Force Wall is going to secure the kill out onto Jim Raynor, and I think this has to be game number 1 going over in favor of Bronze6 as another fantastic swap comes in from Kira. You can tell that this is definitely a player that plays Artanis more than just on this map for the amateur opponent value. Their swaps this game have really secured a lot of kills, and that is going to be game number 1 going over in favor of Bronze6. Very well done by them. That sure was the game, Velcomer. Checking out that summary screen, wow, the healing number is actually pretty incredible put out by Elune on that white main there. Very well done by them. And Lunara just chunking out the damage. Look at that. 56,000 to the 29,000 on Melganis. Orphea and Jim Raynor both never quite able to stand and actually put out the damage that they wanted to. Just got confirmation from Hyperbole that Feigned Competence are going to want first pick going into game number 2, letting Bronze6 know that they have the map pick. Oh my gosh. Casting tool, where are you? I didn't actually have any of the maps pick stuff input, so we're going to have to go ahead and do that right now, because I do this multiple times a week, and you think that I would be better at this by now, but you know what? That's okay. We're all working on self-improvement, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a live. Volskaya and Towers. Map number 1 was Battlefield of Eternity, picked by Bronze6 and won by them. Alrighty. Lunara is in fact going ha 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 all over the place. She's just so fun. I love her to pieces. Alright, we're going to make myself a referee, and then we're going to give it to Danny so that he can set up the lobby again. Thank you so much, Gildermesh. I appreciate it. Update the score. Alrighty, I think we've got the update all nice and set up. We are in the lobby for game number 2, but I haven't told you what it is yet. It is one of actually my favorite maps recently. It is going to be Brax's Holdout. I didn't used to like this map. I used to hate this map, in fact. Back when the objective... Originally I hated it, and then I hated it more, and now I kind of like it. But when they changed the objective to be more like the one on Dragonshire, where you can fight over it, and it doesn't just go to even if you have team members from both teams on the center, that's when I started to like it again. And I like the way that the objective works. It is admittedly a pretty snowbally map. So that is less than ideal, but it's not the most snowbally maps, and I think it's got decent comeback potential with all of the camps and the ability to like snap pick up camps quickly after a team fight. So I think Brax's Holdout, pretty decent map. Not the most popular map, it's about the 3rd or 4th least popular, but you know what? Being, 6th or 7th most popular out of 10, that's not too bad. Also, it is another 2-lane map. I think that's a really smart call coming out from Bronze6. It worked out for them really well in the first game. I have not seen either of these teams play before that I remember, but it's possible that... thank you for shouting me out, my Jewish cat, and thank you for the follow. Let me tab out here real fast to see who that was on the stream manager. Oh boy, I don't know what happened there. Stream manager's gone off the fritz, so I don't get to see who followed me, but I appreciate it so much for the following. As I was saying, I don't know if Bronze6 is maybe a little bit less confident in their macro plays, and that's why they're going to the 2-lane maps. But if that's the case, going to Brax's Holdout, this is maybe the least macro-intensive map in all of NGS, so... if they're feeling more confident in their team fighting than their macro plays, I think this is a really smart pickup from them. They were able to, I think, take better advantages of getting kills in lane and getting objective pressure from that. So, I think this is a really smart pickup from them. It was Gildermesh. Thank you so much for the follow, Gildermesh. I really appreciate it. 21 viewers. That's really awesome for a Sunday at almost 9 o'clock Pacific. Thank you, everyone, for being here right now. Really appreciate it. Getting into actually talking about game things, we've got a Johanna ban. Johanna did really well for Bronze6 in game number 1, so I'm not terribly surprised to see her getting banned out. And another Mephisto ban. I didn't see a Mephisto getting played by Bronze6, so I don't know if that's actually a target ban or if that is just a ban that they really don't want to play against. And Rexar getting banned out on Braxis. I mean, can you think of two things that go together better than Brax's Holdout and Rexar? Possibly Dragonshire and Rexar, but like, if you're not picking or banning Rexar on this map, what are you even doing? And the ETC getting banned out, thank you so much, Bronze6 and Feigned Competence. It means we get to see the weird tanks, and I really appreciate that. Kael'thas getting picked up, I think, is a little bit of an interesting pick. As a first pick, I think he's a great hero on this map, don't get me wrong. But as a first pick, I think it's a little bit interesting, but it shows a lot of confidence in Flow Motion's ability to get the damage done with Kael'thas. And maybe that's what they were missing in the previous game, having him on the Rainer. I know that my team's damage dealer doesn't feel nearly as comfortable on auto attackers as he does on the mages, so maybe it's just a more comfortable pick for Flow Motion, and they don't need that same kind of single target damage and race that they had in the first game with Jim Raynor. Tracer, we had seen banned out in the previous series. and getting picked up here, interestingly, by Elune, who was their white main player in the first game. So, a bit of an interesting role swap. I didn't actually check to see if that is the normal roles that they're playing on, but I love to see the healer players swapping out onto damage, because I like to do that. I'm a healer main, but every now and again I get to play Lunara, Tassadar, or the Lost Vikings, and it's a good time. Diablo, I think, is one of the better tanks on this map once the S-tier tanks are gone. And Varian, I think, is an interesting choice this early in the draft because it doesn't tell you what it is. Varian can successfully be run as a tank or as an offlaner. So picking up Varian when you still otherwise need a tank or offlaner is a good bit of draft strategy coming up from the side of Feigned Competence. My Jewish Cat once again playing the Tassadar. I see Gildermesh that My Jewish Cat is a really strong Mephisto player, so is likely a respect ban. That makes a lot of sense, actually. I think that Mephisto and Tassadar can put out damage in similar ways. So I think that is a smart pickup going into the Tassadar once the Mephisto is banned away, and it worked phenomenally in the first game. Deckard Cain coming out is a really nice pickup. Ever since Ruby got changed down to a 10-second cooldown, he's just felt so nuts in every game that I get to play him in, and I'm so happy because the old man is one of my favorite heroes in the game. So I love to see that pickup. Kerrigan and Malthael getting picked up from the side of Feigned Competence. Malthael means that Varian is going to be run as the solo tank, and I think with the rest of the damage dealers that they have, that's a really scary potential blow-up combo. You've got Varian for the initial charge taunt, Kael'thas for the lapse follow-up, and Kerrigan to just murder anything that gets hit by all of that CC. And Thrall getting picked up, I think, is a little bit weird. It makes sense into the Malthael, though, because Thrall doesn't have that big chunky health pool for them to try and siphon the health off of, but Thrall, I think, is maybe one of the less impressive at just standing and fighting as far as solo laners go, so I don't know, I think I prefer Malthael in the top lane matchup there. I mean, Rexxar was banned out in the first round, so obviously neither team was going to be able to take him, and it's a good suggestion, Gildermesh, but that is not what came to pass. Elune stayed on the Tracer, and now I have to wonder which one of them is their main healer, or do they genuinely swap roles? Because that is something I always find really interesting to see, but doesn't actually happen all that often.
Facility powering.
However, we do now have spawning on the left-hand side in the blue trunks the winners of game number 1, Bronze6, with CRT playing the Diablo, Danny playing the Deckard Cain, Elune playing Tracer, My Jewish Cat is playing the Tassadar, and Kira is playing the Thrall. And on the right-hand side in the red trunks, looking to take us to a game number 3, it is Feigned Competence with Hyperbole playing the Varian. Captain Squidly is on Stukov, Flow Motion on Kael'thas, Jonah Fencer playing the Kerrigan, and in the top lane we have Beaver Hunter playing the Malthael. As ever, we're going to check out the level 1 talents. We've got Field Study for the Deckard Cain, and we've got Overpower, which I don't see very often at all taken from Varian. Usually you see them going into the Q quest on level 1 when they're going to go Taunt. I've even seen High King's quest when they end up going Taunt, but I very rarely see the Overpower, so really looking to kind of emphasize the defensive play that you can get from Varian, especially at 10 with that shield wall. Little bit of an early recall coming out from the Tracer. Sort of a flex, I think, coming out there, dropping the Pew Pew spray, saying, you know what, I don't need this recall. You're not gonna kill me before it comes off cooldown again. And to be fair, with only Varian for reliable CC and not even until 4, they might just be right about that. We do have Malthael going into Fear the Reaper on one, which I think makes a lot of sense. You don't really need the Pale Force. And with this map in particular, I don't think you need the Wraith Strike range. CRT looking to see if they can find a little bit of CC, but not quite finding it onto Hyperbole. Tracer going into the 1-2 punch, which I think is the standard on Tracer, but honestly she's banned out in so many of my games that I don't actually see too many Tracer talents these days. If they can EQ a Kerrigan, it's a problem, or a Stukov hurts them, they can Sunder to disengage. That is valid, but that means that you have to have Thrall in your 4-man. So, and on this map, that's not a guarantee because of how important it is to be winning in the top lane. Kerrigan does get thrown back by CRT, but the actually really impressive gravity lapse. I did not catch out on that top rotation from a Loon there. Sorry for missing out on that kill, but they need to try and make something happen since they've got a 4 versus 3 in the bottom lane here. Captain Squidly is going to walk out on a point, but Tracer can rotate so quickly that they might just be able to try and take an advantageous fight down here. And they had already picked up a camp in the bot lane, so things are really coming up Millhouse right now for Bronze6. Kerrigan does go in to try and get a combo, actually lands the stun out onto a Loon who gets brought down to about half hit points, but Varian's not a real hero yet, so I don't know that they're going to be able to make a great team fight here. Flow Motion getting chased down a little bit by Loon is going to find him with the 1-2 punch. 2 kills going over very quickly in favor of Bronze6, both of them put out by the Tracer. Did get stunned out once again by Kerrigan, but is able to walk away pretty easily after that. We have Hyperbole now on the top, on the bot point. It is worth noting, My Jewish Cat is relatively low on mana right now, so they're going to need to get some auto attacks in there so they can start getting that regen. We've got the level 4s coming in now, we do have the Ruby come up, but we've got the Taunt Varian. This is where I think that Feigned Competence really need to make something happen. Varian has a really strong power spike at 4, so if they don't make something happen right now, then it's going to be a little bit rough for them going through to the future. We do have both of the soul laners trying to make a team fight happen. Beaver Hunter is trying to poke out and let that trait damage do good work, whereas Thrall really wants to make a team fight happen. We've got the taunt coming out onto CRT, and they are going to get taken out. However, they did get the counter kill with the power of Tracer into the backline of that Kael'thas. However, I think that that has to give a slight advantage in favor of Feigned Competence because they still have a front line. Sure, there's a lot of damage potential, but without the CC, it's going to be a little bit difficult for either Tracer or Tassadar to really step up and get that damage in. My Jewish Cat getting the auto attacks in, going in for the Plasma Shield on level 4 this time. And I think that's really smart with the potential blow-up that you have coming in available for the members of Feigned Competence. Tracer rotated up into the top lane. Beaver Hunter is pretty low and appears not to have the tap available, or is just opting not to use it. But Tracer not being in the bot lane means that it's a really strong position for Feigned Competence. They have the taunt going in, the Kerrigan follow-up, and the follow-up from Kael'thas is going to secure a very quick and convincing kill onto My Jewish Cat. So Tracer's going to stay into the top lane, do some damage into Malthael. Getting the kill in the top lane means that neither team is going to be able to take the button. However, that means that Feigned Competence isn't soaking the top lane right now, so that is really a powerful position for them to be in. But it does allow them to take this Bruiser camp, so advantage both teams, but I think stronger advantage in favor of Bronze6. We do have the engagement coming out onto Hyperbole. They do sidestep the Scroll of Sealing. A lot of damage. The taunt actually going out onto Elune there, but neither team able to quite find the damage they're looking for quite yet. Flow Motion getting brought pretty low. Elune is going to have to recall, and not finding a kill on either team, but the 7s are in favor of Bronze6 at this point, so they're going to try and push that advantage, and they are able to push it all the way into a first objective in their favor with 33% going over to their opponents. Bit of a charge combo coming out onto Hyperbole. We do have the Lapse and into Impaling Strike coming out onto CRT. They're actually kind of low, but with the Zerg Wave coming in now, it's really going to have to be a defensive kind of disengage fight for the team of Feigned Competence. Looks like we've got Malthael rotating into the bot lane to make a more advantageous defensive team fight here. I think that's a really, potentially really smart play, because look how far the lane is pushed out. It's going to be difficult for Malthael to actually try and soak that, especially with Thrall defending. So if they can get a nice pick down here, they've got the charge taunt combo coming out onto My Jewish Cat, and with the power of the taunt, they are brought down very low, but they don't quite have the damage to bring them down. We had a Wraith Strike that got pulled out by Diablo, so really interesting series of abilities coming out from them. My Jewish Cat is going to have to tap up, and Malthael's rotating back into the top lane. Shouldn't lose too much XP there. And we're at this point just kind of a standstill. Both teams not having enough of an advantage to do a whole heck of a lot, but with this siege camp over here that is going to go over in favor of Bronze6, and it's a lot harder for Feigned Competence to rotate up and take theirs because of how much farther away it is. Camp getting picked up, and Danny is going to full back. Kind of one of the problems with Deckard Cain, especially in the early game, is that he can just blow through mana real fast if you're using more than just his Q. So, backing now when there's not a lot happening is a really smart play coming out from them. But leaving Tassadar in this bottom lane is going to go really well for Bronze6, and there's actually no one rotating down to take care of that camp. Trying to get a kill in the top lane, they're likely going to find it on an Akira. Oh my gosh, Danny actually gets the save, and they get the counter kill out on the Malthael. Charge coming out onto Kerrigan. Jonah Fencer is pretty low, is likely going to get chased down by Tracer. The recall comes out, is going to remove that living bomb. Tracer's pretty low, but there's no real way for them to try and engage on her. Hyperbole gets brought down very low. Really nice, actually the counter kill coming up from the power of flow motion and that gravity lapse helps to break this a little bit more even, but leaving that camp in the bottom lane, that is going to be the bottom fort going down in just a little bit. I don't think Malthael actually gets there in time. The 4-man's now in the top lane for both teams. And that is going to be the first fort of the game going down. We have the charge taunt coming out onto Kira there. Competence clearly doesn't have the greatest of follow-up CC, so Kira's just able to walk out of there. Hyperbole still doesn't have the shield wall yet, and they are going to get taken down. 7 kills to 3, so definitely going better than game number 1 for the side of Feigned Competence, but they're still down level 10 as the objective is spawning in 15 seconds. Got a bit of a weird lane arrangement. We've got Malthael in the bottom lane now, which is what you would kind of expect, as the members of Bronze6 are now going to put their 4-man in the top lane so that they can try and make a play out onto this top fort, especially with that Kael'thas kill that they get. Level 10's getting picked up now for the side of Feigned Competence, but without that Kael'thas, I don't know how they're going to try and make a fight happen, although if Tracer gets caught here, that would be very bad for them. Kerrigan drops the Ultralisk, which does have a stun at the end of its charge, but not hitting out onto anyone. Speaking of ults, we've actually got the Warbringer coming out, so not opting for that shield wall. We've got the massive shove, we got the Ultralisk as we already saw, last rites, and still holding from Kael'thas. I would definitely expect to see the Phoenix here. Kira and Hyperbole having a bit of a gentleman's duel in this bot area, definitely going over in Thrall's favor. We've got the APOC getting popped here to try and secure a kill. Flow motion get brought down pretty low. Beaver Hunter low as well, but not going to find a kill. We've got the Stay a While. We've got Earthquake, which we saw. The Black Hole once again. Such an interesting pickup here coming up from my Jewish cat. And we've also got the Quantum Spike, which is the % damage coming up from Tracer as well. So we've actually got the Pyroblast. It's a really interesting pickup coming out here. I really expected to see the Phoenix, but if they can find a kill out onto Thrall, maybe it'll be all worth it. Looking for an engagement onto the Loon, but just not quite finding it, able to blink out of there before they can get the taunt out. I think this is the time where Feigned Competence are going to want to take a fight. This is a nice, even talent tier. It's not close for their opponents to actually get anything. If they can find a pick out onto, especially Tracer, with that variant taunt, I think it'd go really well for them. But I think that Pyroblast is going to have to either go out onto my Jewish cat or Kira. Any other target is just a little bit too tanky. They did have the charge and taunt going out, and the silence was just barely too slow, so Tracer was able to recall a huge amount of damage coming out with that Black Hole. First kill is going to go out on Diablo, but I think there's going to be a lot more kills going over in favor of Bronze6 here, as they are able to get the kill out onto 3, 4, maybe 5? No, Captain Squeaky is able to walk on out of there. And because that kill was out onto Diablo, Diablo's already back because they had souls. Sure, they're a weakened paper-mache version of their former selves, but you know what? He can just farm souls now. So really well done by them. Tracer is going to go into the Untouchable, which did get changed in the last patch. No longer gives you that increased blink range, but it gives you increased speed after using blink. So no longer buggy like it was before. A little bit of a charge coming out onto a Loon, but is not going to be able to get the taunt as well, so Tracer is able to get on out of there. In the bot lane for just a sec, this is going to get cleaned up by just the existing buildings and minions, so no real hope for Feigned Competence to get some value in the other lanes. We're going to go ahead and hide talent at the moment, as this is the big team fight that I think Feigned Competence are going to have to take. They really can't afford to lose a keep here, but honestly, Tassadar has so much siege damage and hero damage, it's going to be hard for the members of Feigned Competence to make this defense. I don't know that they're going to stop this keep from going down. They have the Black Hole going out, putting a ton of damage into flow motion. Stay a While, Listen coming out, finding some CC out onto Kerrigan. They're going to get followed up by Diablo and blown up. Ton of damage coming out from Tassadar once again. Hyperbole finding a charge onto Kira, but not able to find anything. We do have the kill going out on the Meltdown, who drops the last rites, but Recall is going to cleanse that off of a Loon. And I don't know if they can end here, but it's really scary for the members of Feigned Competence. If they have one more kill go over, and there is that kill, I don't know that they have the damage to actually save their core at this point. There's still about a half a Zerg wave left, and it is just chucking damage out into the core, and that is going to be the 2-0 sweep in favor of Bronze6. GG and well played. I agree they needed to get some value, but unfortunately, there was not a lot of value for them to find in that game. checking out the numbers once again, we've actually got Thrall with the most damage being done. A lot of damage actually coming out from the Earthquake and the ability to engage upon that. Going into the Rolling Thunder, which I see getting picked up more and more in the format these days, in the solo lane these days, which I think is a really interesting pickup. I don't see a whole lot of Thrall these days, so I don't know if this is particularly standard these days, but it was interesting nonetheless. I overuse that word interesting, but that's okay. Gonna whisper on Danny and see if they're up for a little post-game interview. We are gonna get a post-game interview. Looks like is going to be with Danny, the captain of Bronze6, who actually joined me into the coin toss lobby because I never remembered to leave.
Hey, what's up?
Congratulations on your 2-0 victory tonight.
Thank you.
So looking at this series, just based on your two teams' positioning in the current rankings, it looks like I feel like you're probably relatively favored. How does that impact your mindset going into a series like this?
Actually, we're a brand new team. I think Feigned Competence has 2 or 3 seasons under their belt, and I mean this is B West. Any team can be anyone any day of the week. So I believe that if you underestimate an opponent, then you're just downplaying your own ability and then the abilities of the other team. So, but I'm not sure if we were favored, but we played heroes that we're comfortable with.
Alrighty, so I guess in the realm of respecting your opponents, how did you go about preparing for this match then?
I kind of mentioned it before. I'm a lazy captain, so I did not do too much reconnaissance with Feigned Competence. We have real lives and families and work and all that stuff. We just we play normal games throughout the week, and whether Tracer's strong or Cassia is overpowered or whatever, we're gonna make sure that we kind of avoid the Lost Vikings cheese or the Rexar cheese and kind of play our game. And I know going into that second game, they did have someone, I believe, that did play Rexar, so we wanted to ban that guy out.
I mean, let's be honest. Every team should have a Rexar player in case you ever get taken to D-Shire or Braxis, but
yeah. You're right.
I didn't specifically see if they had a prolific Rexar player.
Yeah. I mean, Kira, I'd be honest with you, Kira is probably one of our stronger players. I'm to be completely honest with you, I am boosted by all 4 of these other players. They carry me all these games. But whether it's Jewish Cat or Alun or CRT or Kira, I am the weakest link by far. And we wanted to make sure that Kira was going to be in the solo lane. So we got the map pick for both games. So I strategically chose maps with 2 lanes because I knew that he was not going to lose that lane.
That's a really interesting insight, and hopefully your opponents are going to be able to scout that and maybe look to bring some spice into their own top lanes in future series.
They can scout it, but there's no one that can beat Kira top lane.
I love the confidence.
Yeah. So, yeah, but no, we're happy with the games, and it was a 25-minute kind of match, and we're looking forward to next week and the week after.
Awesome. I saw your opponents actually banned out. God, names are so hard. The Diablo Mage hero.
Diablo
the evil
Mage.
One. He got the rings on the ground. He shoots out the skull missile. Mephisto. Thank you so much. He banned out Mephisto both times. Is that a target ban, do you think?
My Jewish Cat is a prolific streamer, as I've been told by Jewish Cat. And he's a one trick Mephisto for a long time. He's branched out. He's branched out a little bit. Now he plays Tassadar.
To be fair, he rated my stream with like 50-some viewers when this started, so I would consider that reasonably prolific, especially in the Heroes of the Storm scene.
Well, his biggest draw is from this website called OnlyFans.
Ah.
And for $10, he'll do stuff, and for 25, you tell him what to do. So he's got a huge following from OnlyFans.
Hey man, make money where you can these days. If people are gonna pay you for you doing stuff, then do stuff.
Yeah. He's tops only. He keeps the bottoms on though, so it's kind of
all right.
Yeah.
NGS officially does not support OnlyFans. They're both just happen to be businesses.
Yeah. Well, we're big users of Grindr and OnlyFans, so
all right.
That's where we're at.
So you already kind of preempted my question for why Brax is holdout, because you were confident in Kira winning in the solo lane.
Yeah.
Was there any point, in particular in game number 2, where you thought that Feigned Competence were starting to make a comeback? Because the first game they didn't get a kill, and I don't want to disparage the enemy team too much, but I have to imagine you weren't feeling particularly worried then. But the second game, for a while, they were kind of keeping up in kills. Were you a little bit more worried in that second game?
Well, did you think? Were you worried for us?
I wouldn't say I was worried, but there was definitely, the game felt more even for a lot of it.
I don't think it was even at all.
And why do you say that?
I thought that we drafted. It was a better draft overall. They took the Mephisto. Thrall counters Mephisto. And then their team was a team that had to dive in. And so we took the Deckard Cain for the root, and Tracer on the back line. So, I mean, they were keeping him up with us on the first wave, but we took the first 2 waves. We saw the fact that we had better wave clear with Tassadar, and we took the siege bottom to kind of pressure him even more. We kind of went back and forth with some objectives, but I really wasn't worried. I felt like our wave clear was better. They did have a kind of a scary blow-up comp with Kael'thas, Mephisto, but we kind of played around their combos, and it worked out.
I'd say that's generally true. I'm always a little bit nervous when the opponent has a taunt Varian at that level 4 range, because it's such a strong power spike. I think that they, unfortunately for them, messed up their combos a little bit. Like if the Stukov Silence was on the taunt target, especially when it was on Alun's Tracer, so if the Silence was there a little bit quicker, the recall doesn't go off, and if the recall doesn't go off, then the Kerrigan combo hits, and the Living Bomb explodes before it gets cleansed off with the recall. So
yeah, but I mean, for that to work, I mean, Varian's has to charge in on somebody, right?
Yep.
So if it's Tracer, then I throw my cube and my root, and it kind of negates kind of that, because they kind of panic every time I would do that WE combo. They didn't know what to do. And so, I mean, it was a really fun game. We had a really good comms and draft. If you were in our comms, we were actually having the discussion around pronouns and what we should refer to Jewish cat. He goes by they, but it's a really kind of a sweet group, and hopefully we can carry us on to the playoffs and get a good seed.
All right, that sounds really awesome. And as a first time team in NGS, welcome.
Thank you.
Did you participate in Heroes Lounge or any of the other amateur divs?
Actually, this was a mistake. We were trying to. No. We all play Words with Friends, and I mistakenly signed us up for the wrong tournament. And we coincidentally all play Heroes of the Storm. So no, this is our first season on any competitive level of HOTS. And
no, you have to explain that story a little bit more. What were you trying to sign up for at the time?
Words with Friends. It's a Scrabble take, I believe.
I'm aware of it, but was there like a Words with Friends event or something you were signing up for?
Yeah, it's a 5v5 Words with Friends, winner take all, and I mistakenly signed us up for NGS.
I can't tell if you're joking right now.
Absolutely not.
All right, that is a unique story that I'm definitely going to have to share with people everywhere on the server.
Well, it worked out.
Yeah, it's working out very well for you guys at this point, so congratulations. That's hilarious, and I'm going to give it over to you for any shout-outs that you want to give.
I want to take a shout-out to Hyperbole and the whole Feigned Competence team, and our team, Alun, CRT, Jewish Cat, Kira, and Hit the J. He's our our other player that didn't play in this match.
Awesome. Actually, I did have one other question. Who do you normally have on healer? Because Elune was healer in the first game, and you were healer in the second game. Do you swap roles regularly, or is that like Elune is a bomb tracer player, so we're gonna take them off of healer this game for that?
Elune is a bomb healer. If you've ever played a game with Elune, you know that she can keep a team alive. She's a far better healer than I. But they banned out in the first game. They banned out Tracer. I think that was a target ban on Elune because they must have done some sort of recon on our previous games. And when they didn't ban Tracer the second game, Elune got a little. She got a little upset. She goes, "I can't believe they're disrespecting me in this way. And I'm gonna lock Tracer, and I don't play Deckard Cain ever." So I said, "Okay, I'm gonna play either Lily or Deckard," and I went with the Deckard. So, I believe the last game I played Johanna, I've done tank, I've done heals, I've done range DPS, whatever. I think all of us are pretty flex players. We can play all roles. We don't have set roles. So, no, we're happy with the team, and Elune is a bomb tracer, and we're looking forward to just having her staying on tracer.
All right, you heard it here. The rest of B West, ban Tracer and beware Kira in the top lane or bot lane on some maps.
Beware the Kira.
All right, well, thank you for coming by.
Hey, thanks, big dog.
All right, and have a good week.
You too.
Alrighty, thank you everyone for coming by. That is going to be the end of the stream, and I doubt that there's any other NGS games going because this is definitely the latest one that got started. So we're going to see if there's any Heroes of the Storm NGS individuals just streaming HOTS right now, or if not, we're going to find someone who's maybe just playing the game.